In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, thousands of lights glowed above a circle of alien leaders. Each seat belonged to a powerful species from across the galaxy. The chamber was silent, but the silence felt heavy like a storm waiting to break. At the center of the hall, a blue star map floated in the air, and on that map, one small world shone brighter than the rest. Earth. Many alien leaders stared at that name with anger and fear. Humanity had grown too fast. In only a few generations, they had traveled from a single planet to dozens of systems. They built ships faster than most species. Could imagine they fought harder than any race the Council had seen before. And that frightened the galaxy. A tall silver alien known as Counselor Velrix slowly stood from his seat. His long eyes looked around the chamber. "The time has come," he said in a calm, cold voice. "The Council must decide the fate of humanity." Quiet whispers spread through the chamber. Some species believed humans were reckless and dangerous. Others feared that one day humanity would rule the stars. A large reptilian leader slammed his claw against the table. "Humans do not follow galactic law," he growled. "They build weapons faster than peace. They fight wars that destroy entire systems. If we do nothing, they will become unstoppable." Many council members agreed, but not all. A small, glowing creature from the luminous worlds slowly spoke. "Humans are young, but they're also creative. They explore, they build, they learn faster than any species we know. Perhaps they only need guidance." But the chamber had already turned against humanity. Another leader stood up, a massive insectoid commander with dark armor. "Guidance will not stop them," he said. "Humans survive every conflict and grow stronger from it. They're not like us. They do not fear loss. They adapt." The hall fell silent again. Finally, the grand speaker of the council rose. "The vote will begin." One by one, glowing symbols appeared above the council seats. Red meant banishment. Blue meant alliance. The first symbol appeared red, then another red, then another. Within minutes, the star map above the chamber changed. Earth was surrounded by a glowing red ring. The decision was final. Humanity was banned from the Galactic Council. All trade would end. All human ships entering Council space would be destroyed. Earth and its colonies would stand alone. Some alien leaders felt relief, others felt uneasy. But the vote could not be undone. Far away on Earth, the message arrived hours later. In a quiet underground command center, human leaders watched the council broadcast in silence. No one spoke as the final words echoed across the room. "Humanity is banned from galactic civilization." For a long moment, the room stayed completely still. Then a gray-haired admiral named Jonathan Reyes slowly stood up. His eyes moved across the officers around him. "They think this is the end," he said quietly. A young scientist looked at the floor. "What do we do now?" The admiral walked toward the large star map on the wall. Beyond the bright space of the Galactic Council, there were huge dark regions, unexplored, unknown, and dangerous. He pointed toward the darkness. "We go where they cannot see." Another officer looked confused. "You mean we leave council space?" Reyes nodded slowly. "If the galaxy does not want humanity, then we will not beg for a place in it." His voice became stronger. "We will build something greater." The room slowly filled with quiet determination. Scientists began opening hidden plans. Engineers spoke about secret shipyards already under construction. Explorers talked about unknown star regions beyond council control. The council believed humanity had been isolated, but they did not know the truth. Humans were not giving up. They were preparing. Years later, the galaxy would learn a terrifying lesson. When humanity disappears from the stars, it does not mean they are gone. Sometimes it only means they are building something new in the dark. Years passed after the day humanity was banned from the Galactic Council, and slowly the galaxy forgot about Earth. Many alien worlds believed the human species would slowly weaken without trade, without allies, and without the support of the Council. Ships from other civilizations no longer visited human space. Trade routes that once carried technology and supplies disappeared, and the name of humanity slowly faded from galactic news. But far away from the bright star systems of the Council, something very different was happening. Deep inside dark regions of space, hidden behind asteroid belts and dead stars, human ships moved silently. They did not use old engines anymore. They did not follow normal travel routes. And no signals were sent that could be detected by alien scanners. Humanity had disappeared from the galaxy, but it had not stopped moving. In a hidden system far beyond Council territory, a massive structure slowly grew around a lonely star. Thousands of human workers floated in space, building metal structures larger than cities. Giant shipyards stretched across the darkness. New starships waited in silent lines. These ships looked nothing like the old human fleets. Their armor was thicker. Their engines burned brighter. Their weapons were stronger than anything humanity had built before. This place was called the Frontier, and it was only the beginning. On a command station orbiting the shipyards, Admiral Jonathan Reyes stood in front of a large star map. The map showed two different parts of space. One side was bright and full of known systems controlled by the Galactic Council. The other side was dark and almost empty. But small human symbols were slowly appearing inside that darkness. New colonies, new stations, new fleets. A young officer entered the room and spoke quietly. Admiral, our scouts have returned from the outer regions. Reyes turned slowly. Report. The officer nodded. We found 3 new habitable worlds and 2 resource systems. No alien signals detected. The region is completely unknown to the Council. A small smile appeared on the Admiral's face. Good, he said, send the colony ships immediately. The officer hesitated for a moment. Sir, there is something else. Reyes looked at him carefully. Speak. The officer pointed at the map. Our scouts detected an alien probe near the border of the frontier. It appears to be a long-range Council scanner. The room became silent. For a moment, Reyes studied the map. Then he spoke calmly. Did it see anything? The officer shook his head. No, sir. Stealth fields remained active. The probe passed through the region without detecting the shipyards. Reyes nodded slowly. Good. But we cannot risk it happening again. He looked around the command room, where engineers, scientists, and officers were watching carefully. The galaxy must continue to believe that humanity is weak. He pointed toward the dark regions of space. We will keep growing here where no one is looking. Outside the station, thousands of construction drones moved across the giant shipyards. A new type of human warship was being completed. Its body was enormous, far larger than the old Council cruisers. Lines of glowing engines burned softly in the darkness, and heavy weapons covered the surface of the ship. A group of young engineers watched the giant vessel slowly activate its power core. One of them whispered with quiet pride, "This is the first Dominion-class battleship." Another engineer smiled. The Council banned humanity from the galaxy, but they never banned us from the universe. Far away from the frontier, the Galactic Council continued its normal life. Trade moved across the stars. Alien fleets protected their borders. And many leaders believed the human problem had solved itself. But none of them knew what was growing in the silent darkness beyond their maps. None of them saw the growing human colonies. None of them saw the fleets waiting in hidden systems. And none of them understood the truth. Humanity was not disappearing. It was preparing. And somewhere in the deep frontier, Admiral Reyes watched the stars and quietly spoke the words that only a few humans understood. One day the galaxy will come looking for us. And when that day arrives, they will not find the weak species they banished. They will find something far stronger. Something the Council never expected. A new power rising slowly in the darkness. The beginning of a human dominion. Many more years passed in the silent darkness beyond the Galactic Council borders, and the galaxy still believed humanity had faded into weakness. But in the hidden frontier, the human dominion continued to grow. New colonies were built on distant planets. Massive stations floated near cold stars. And giant shipyards worked without rest. Humanity had changed during these years. Their ships were no longer small explorers or fragile trade vessels. Now, they were warships built for survival. In the center of the frontier, one system stood above all others. It was called Dominion Prime. A powerful blue star burned at the heart of the system, and around it thousands of human ships moved like a living swarm. Defense platforms protected every planet. Massive fleets waited in orbit. And enormous factories created weapons, engines, and armor stronger than anything humanity had once imagined. Inside the main command fortress, Admiral Jonathan Reyes stood before a large star map. But this map was different from the old ones. The bright space controlled by the Galactic Council was still there, but now another region had appeared beside it. A wide growing area filled with human symbols. Colonies, fleet stations, and shipyards. The frontier was no longer small. It was becoming a new civilization. A young commander named Elena Ward stepped into the command chamber. Her uniform showed the mark of the Dominion fleet, the most powerful military force humanity had ever built. "Admiral," she said quietly, "the first Dominion Armada is ready for inspection." Reyes turned slowly. "How many ships?" Ward answered with pride. 3,000 warships, including 20 Dominion-class battleships, and more are still under construction. For a moment, the Admiral remained silent. Years ago, the Galactic Council had destroyed most human fleets in a single campaign. They believed humanity would never rebuild. But now the Dominion fleet was larger than any force humans had ever commanded. "Come with me," Reyes said. They walked through long metal halls until they reached a massive observation window. Outside, the darkness of space was filled with ships. Rows of destroyers, cruisers, and carriers floated in perfect formation. Their engines glowed softly like distant stars. And at the center of the fleet stood the largest ships of all, the Dominion battleships. Their bodies were enormous floating fortresses covered in heavy weapons and armor. Ward spoke quietly. This fleet could challenge the Council Navy. Reyes watched the ships carefully. "Not yet," he said, "but one day." At that moment, an alarm suddenly echoed through the command station. A technician rushed into the room. "Admiral, we have an unexpected signal entering the outer frontier." Reyes turned sharply. "Alien signal." "Yes, sir, long-range scanner, possibly from the Galactic Council." The room became tense. For years, humanity had remained hidden, but the galaxy was slowly expanding its exploration. It was only a matter of time before someone found the frontier. Reyes walked quickly toward the command table. "Show me the signal." A small blinking light appeared on the star map near the edge of human territory. One lonely alien ship had entered the dark region. A simple exploration vessel. But if it returned to the Council with information, everything would change. Commander Ward looked at the Admiral. "Orders." Reyes thought for a moment. Then he spoke slowly. "Launch a stealth escort. Observe the vessel, but remain hidden. We must know what it has seen." Far out in the frontier, the small alien ship moved through silent space. Its scanners searched the dark systems around it. The crew believed they were exploring empty territory far beyond Council space. But suddenly one of their instruments showed something strange. Faint signals. Energy readings. Far larger than expected. The alien captain stared at the screen in confusion. "That cannot be correct," he said quietly. His officer adjusted the sensors. The readings became clearer. Huge structures. Thousands of engines. An entire fleet. The captain felt a chill. These were not natural signals. Someone was hiding here. Before the alien ship could turn away, the darkness around it shifted. Silent shadows appeared beside the vessel. Human stealth ships. Watching. Studying. Waiting. Back in Dominion Prime, Admiral Reyes looked at the map where the alien signal blinked softly. "The galaxy is getting closer," he said quietly. Ward nodded. "Yes, Admiral." For a moment, Reyes stared into the darkness of space. Then he spoke in a calm, determined voice. "Let them search. One day, they will discover the truth. And when that day comes, the galaxy will learn that humanity did not disappear. Humanity evolved. And the Dominion fleet was only the beginning of something far greater." The alien exploration vessel drifted slowly through the silent darkness of the frontier. Its scanners continued to detect strange signals that should not exist in an empty region of space. The captain of the vessel stared at the glowing screen in front of him. Energy readings were rising every second. Massive power signatures appeared and disappeared like shadows. His crew looked confused and uneasy. One officer spoke quietly. "Captain, these readings are not natural." The captain nodded slowly. He already knew that. No empty star system should contain this much energy. Something large was hidden here. Something powerful. "Increase scanner range," the captain ordered. The officer obeyed, and the sensors expanded across the surrounding space. For a few seconds, nothing changed. Then suddenly the main display filled with signals. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. The alien crew froze in shock. The empty system was not empty at all. Far in the darkness, enormous structures floated in orbit around distant planets. Giant shipyards, massive stations, and fleets of warships larger than anything the Council had ever recorded. The captain felt his heart race. This was impossible. These ships carried the design signature of humanity. But humanity had been banned from the galaxy for decades. Their fleets had been destroyed. Their systems isolated. They were supposed to be weak and fading. But the reality before his eyes told a completely different story. Humanity had not disappeared. It had grown. The officer beside him spoke in a shaken voice. "Captain, there are thousands of ships, and more construction platforms beyond the inner system." The captain leaned closer to the screen. The scale of the human fleet was terrifying. Some of the ships were larger than Council dreadnoughts. Their engines burned with deep blue light. Their weapons covered every surface. Entire fleets waited in silent formation like sleeping giants. The captain finally spoke. "Record everything. This information must reach the Galactic Council." The crew immediately began transmitting the data into encrypted storage. If the Council learned what was hiding here, the entire balance of the galaxy would change. But the captain did not realize one important thing. His ship was not alone. Far beyond the range of his scanners, several human stealth vessels moved silently through space. Their hulls blended perfectly with the darkness. They had been watching the alien ship since the moment it entered the frontier. Inside one of the stealth ships, a Dominion officer studied the alien vessel carefully. The officer turned toward his commander. "The alien scouts have completed their scans." The commander crossed his arms calmly. "So they know." The officer nodded. "Yes, Commander." The commander looked toward the distant human fleets glowing softly near the star. For many years, humanity had hidden its growing power from the galaxy, but discovery had always been inevitable. The commander opened a communication channel. A signal was sent across the system toward Dominion Prime. Inside the command, Fortress Admiral Reyes received the message. "Alien scouts have seen the fleets." For a moment, the command room remained silent. Every officer understood what this meant. The galaxy would soon learn the truth. Commander Ward looked at the Admiral carefully. "Should we destroy the scout ship before it escapes?" Reyes slowly shook his head. "No." The officers around him looked surprised. "If the scout returns, the Council will know everything." Reyes nodded calmly. "Yes." And that moment was always going to come. He walked slowly toward the observation window and looked at the massive Dominion fleets outside. Thousands of warships waited in perfect formation. New ships were still being built every day. Humanity was no longer weak. "Let them return," he said quietly. "The galaxy must see what humanity has become." Far out in the frontier, the alien scout ship finally turned away from the system. Its engines ignited as it prepared to return to Council space. The captain felt a deep unease as he looked at the final images of the human fleet. He had the strange feeling that the humans knew he was there, that they had allowed him to see everything. As the ship jumped into faster space, the captain whispered to himself. The Council made a terrible mistake. Back in Dominion Prime, Admiral Reyes watched the stars in silence. The time of hiding was ending. Soon the galaxy would learn the truth. The species they had banished, the civilization they believed was broken, had been growing in the darkness for decades. And now a new power was rising, the human Dominion, ready to step back into the galaxy. not as an outcast, but as something far more powerful than the Council had ever imagined. The alien scout ship moved through the stars at maximum speed. Its engines burned bright as it rushed toward the territory of the Galactic Council. Inside the vessel, the crew worked without rest. Every piece of data, every image, every sensor recording from the frontier was being prepared for transmission. The captain stood near the main screen, watching the star map slowly change as they traveled closer to known space. His mind was still filled with the terrifying sight he had witnessed. Thousands of human warships, massive shipyards, entire colonies hidden in the darkness. Humanity had not disappeared. It had grown stronger than anyone in the galaxy expected. Finally, the ship arrived at the outer border of Council space. A large patrol fleet immediately surrounded the small scout vessel. The patrol commander opened a communication channel. "Identify yourselves and state your mission." The captain responded quickly. "Exploration vessel Aurora returning from Deep Frontier Survey. We carry urgent information for the Galactic Council." The patrol commander noticed the tension in the captain's voice. "Very well," the commander said. "You are cleared to travel to the Council capital immediately." Within hours, the scout vessel reached the central system of the Galactic Council. The Great Council Station floated above a golden planet surrounded by hundreds of alien ships. Inside the Council chamber, the leaders of dozens of civilizations gathered once again. Many of them believed the meeting would be routine, until the exploration captain entered the chamber. He bowed respectfully and placed a small data device on the central table. "Honored council members," he said quietly, "we have discovered something that changes everything." The Grand Speaker activated the device. A massive star map appeared above the chamber. At first, it showed only the empty frontier beyond Council space. Then the image shifted. Suddenly, thousands of signals filled the map. Human colonies, human stations, human fleets. A deep silence spread across the chamber. One council leader whispered in disbelief, "That cannot be real." But the images continued. Giant Dominion-class battleships floated near distant stars. Massive shipyards built new warships every day. Entire systems were under human control. The reptilian counselor who once demanded humanity be banned slammed his claw against the table again. "Impossible," he growled. "Humanity was isolated, their fleets destroyed." The exploration captain looked directly at him. "With respect, Counselor, humanity did not die in isolation. They used that time to rebuild." The chamber erupted into confused voices. Some leaders demanded immediate military action. Others feared the power shown in the recordings. The Grand Speaker raised his hand for silence. "How large is this fleet?" he asked slowly. The captain answered carefully. "We estimate more than 10,000 active warships, with more under construction. And their technology appears far beyond what humanity possessed when they were banned." The words felt heavy in the chamber. The galaxy had believed humanity was weak. But the truth was far more dangerous. Far away in the hidden Dominion systems, the human fleets were already moving. Thousands of ships left their stations and formed massive armadas. Long lines of warships traveled through silent space, their engines glowing like rivers of blue fire. Inside the command fortress, Admiral Reyes stood before the star map. A message had just arrived from deep space. "The alien scout has reached Council territory." Reyes nodded slowly. "Then the galaxy now knows." Commander Ward looked at the growing fleet signals on the map. "Sir, the Dominion armadas are ready." The Admiral's voice remained calm. "Good. The time for hiding has ended." For decades, humanity had prepared in secret. They built fleets stronger than ever before. They created new colonies beyond the reach of the Council. And now the moment had arrived. Reyes turned toward the massive fleets waiting outside Dominion Prime. "Prepare the armadas for departure," he ordered. Their destination appeared on the star map. The outer systems of the Galactic Council. The frontier was no longer a hidden place. It was the birthplace of a new power, one that the galaxy had unknowingly created. Because the Council believed banning humanity would end their story. But they were wrong. Their decision had only given humanity something far greater. Time. Time to grow. Time to evolve. And time to build a dominion powerful enough to shake the entire galaxy. And now, for the first time in decades, human warships were preparing to return to the stars of the Galactic Council, not as exiles, but as a rising force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The galaxy had entered a moment of deep silence. Every major civilization had received the same message. Human fleets had appeared near the borders of Galactic Council space. At first, many leaders believed it was only a rumor, but soon the reports became impossible to ignore. Long lines of human warships were moving through the outer systems. Entire armadas filled the darkness between the stars. Inside the great council chamber, fear spread through the gathered leaders. The Grand Speaker stood quietly while the massive star map above the chamber slowly changed. New signals continued to appear. Human fleets. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. One council officer spoke with a shaken voice. These fleets are larger than our combined patrol forces. Another leader whispered, "How could they build so much without anyone noticing?" The answer slowly became clear to everyone in the chamber. Because the council had stopped watching humanity years ago. They believed the problem had already been solved. Far away in deep space, the Dominion armadas continued their silent advance. Massive battleships moved slowly at the center of each fleet. Around them, cruisers, carriers, and destroyers formed perfect defensive formations. Their engines burned like blue stars across the darkness. Inside the command bridge of the largest Dominion battleship, Admiral Jonathan Reyes stood before a wide observation window. The endless ocean of stars stretched before him. Commander Ward entered the bridge with a quiet report. The armadas have reached the outer council systems. Civilian traffic has already begun to retreat. Reyes nodded calmly. He had expected this reaction. After decades of preparation, the galaxy was finally seeing the truth. Humanity had returned, but not as a small, isolated species. It had returned as something far greater. The human dominion. A communication officer suddenly spoke. "Admiral, incoming signal from the Galactic Council." Reyes turned toward the central display. A holographic image appeared above the bridge. The Grand Speaker of the Council looked older than before, but his eyes were sharp. "Human Commander," he said, "the Council demands to know the purpose of these fleets." Reyes watched the hologram calmly. For a moment, neither side spoke. Then the Admiral finally answered. "Many years ago, your Council decided humanity did not belong in the galaxy. You cut us off from trade, from allies, from every star system under your control." The Grand Speaker remained silent. Reyes continued. "You believed we would weaken and disappear. But something else happened." His voice stayed calm, but carried quiet strength. "We adapted. We explored the darkness beyond your borders. We built new worlds, new fleets, and a new civilization." The council chamber, watching through the transmission, had become completely silent. The Grand Speaker spoke again slowly. "Are you declaring war on the council?" Reyes shook his head gently. "No. Humanity has no interest in destroying the galaxy. We only came to deliver a message." Behind the Admiral, the observation window showed the massive Dominion fleet stretching across space. Thousands of warships glowing like stars. "You banned humanity from your galaxy," Reyes said quietly. "So we built our own Dominion instead." The words echoed through the council chamber. For the first time, many alien leaders realized something terrifying. The galaxy no longer held power over humanity. The human dominion was already strong enough to stand alone. The Grand Speaker lowered his head slowly. "What does humanity want now?" he asked. Reyes looked out at the stars again. The same stars humans had once dreamed of exploring. "Respect," he answered. "Nothing more and nothing less." The communication ended. Inside the council chamber, silence returned once again. Far outside their borders, the Dominion fleets slowly turned away from the council systems. Their mission was complete. They had not come to fight. They had come to remind the galaxy of something important. Humanity had not been destroyed by exile. It had been transformed by it. And now in the deep darkness beyond the old maps, a new civilization continued to rise. A civilization built by determination, survival, and quiet strength. The human galactic dominion. And its story across the universe had only just begun.